Welcome to PM Express Business Edition. Over the years, several reforms have been instituted to help make business registration very simple. But has it been the situation on the ground today as we speak in terms of making it more simple for businesses out there to register their firms, companies and enterprises? And also, what is the status of those firms that were liquidated recently? And have all those depositors been paid? What is the future of business registration in Ghana today? And is it true that some companies could lose their status, their names, because they fail to update their status with the Registrar General's Department? Well, all these things wrapped up as we look at registration of business in Ghana today and the status of those institutions that were liquidated recently. With the Registrar General, Madam Jima Mwari. And Madam, thank you so much for having the opportunity for us to engage us in your office. And how are you doing, Madam?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
How are things covered, registration, moving online, in person? How have things been so far for you as a person and even engaging your staff and even the public as well?
I must say COVID was a challenge. I mean, it caused us to lose so much revenue. It caused us to change our way of doing business entirely because we had to run a shift with the staff. But what that meant was the general public continued to come here expecting a certain kind of service, but our staff had been reduced. And so I think businesses also suffered. Violence went down considerably. And so I think that was a challenge. But by the grace of God, things have started picking up now. And I think with most of the publications we've been making about businesses having to file returns and renew their businesses, our office is back to what it was before. It's quite full, but at the same time, we ensure that we keep the COVID protocols of social distance, washing your hands, wearing your mask. But at least business is now doing very well, I believe.
Not getting so much into numbers, but have we seen a pickup in registration now that these restrictions have been eased a little bit, even though you are still compliant with the COVID protocols? Have things picked up where more persons are coming in to register, filings and updates and all those things as well?
On the top of my head, I would say yes. But I mean, what is also happening is now there are more requirements. For instance, everybody now needs a national identification authority card, and that is affecting the rate at which businesses are being registered, because we didn't realize it, but most people didn't have the NIA card. Yes, and so when that challenge came, NIA assisted by setting up office in our office, just as GRA also has a presence over here. So what happened was when you come to register a business and you hit that snag, then you have to go and have an NIA card produced for you before you continue registration. So in that sense, it sort of slowed back the pace at which we're registering businesses. But as more people are getting the NIA cards, it's then also picking up. That's why I say it's both ways. Yes.
But I want to ask that what has changed in the process of registering business? Because I knew that there have been several reforms, just like what we said in the introduction, over the years to simplify the process, the ease of doing business. First started the registration of business. How simple has the process been now, from your perspective, in terms of if today Akosia Mansa wants to register a startup?
Before we started automation, it could take you as long as 3 weeks to have a business registered. In fact, the searching of a business name could take as much as 2 weeks going through the manual registers. But now at the touch of a button, you can search on a name. The important thing for any business is to have a name. And so that obviously has eased up due to automation. We've also rolled out a one-stop shop at our front office where all our services are brought up front. Not only that, most of the agencies that have anything to do with business registration have been linked up with us electronically. For instance, our systems speak to Ghana Revenue Authority systems to generate the tax identification number, which is the TIN. Our systems are going to be speaking to the NIA system to identify people in our system. You know, government came out with a policy that from the beginning of next year, January 2022, at least in terms of business registration, we should be using only the NIA card. And so our system is being upgraded to accept only the NIA card. But in the interim, when it was issued from May, I think, to December, we've been doing both. So that could be a challenge for some people. You have to bring your tax identification number. You also have to bring your NIA card. But from January of next year, it's just going to be the NIA card. Okay. So our systems speak to other institutions such as Ghana Post. Did you know that we need a digital address before we can register a business? So Ghana Post is now on board. Metropolitan and municipal assemblies. The Ghana Post links up to that institution so that we don't need to go there for a business operating permit anymore. Once you complete the registration in our office, you get the temporary business operating permit at least for 3 months.
Wow.
So we have rolled up or merged our processes with institutions that require maybe licensing to get you started off. So that, I believe, is a way of easing business. So now we've reduced the steps from over 17 to 3.
Oh.
Yes.
Interesting. So even now, if I want to register a business, the process has been simplified to like 3 for me.
Yes, because we've merged our forms. We've merged our processes. When you come into my office, first of all, the forms are online. You can download all the forms. In the past, you'd have to come and buy it. Wherever you are in the comfort of your home, you can download our forms from www.rgd.gov.gh. So all the forms are there. You fill it out. You can do it online if you want to. You don't even need to walk into our offices. You can do it online.
That's the situation on the ground.
Yes, you can register your business online. That is if you want to, but most Ghanaians want to go through the sun and the noise and everything and come and meet somebody face to face to carry out that. But that will change.
But are you worried that you know, there's a good thing about the ease of doing it online, but the fact that people still want to come in and see the wonderful officers that are here, they still feel that the process can be fast-tracked, and I believe that the thing is genuine when I see that registrar officer process my stuff for me.
Yes, I think maybe it's our fault. We have to put out when we are ready. I don't think we are too ready for where we'll stop working entirely. Some people just cannot be able to go online because they don't have the facilities to do that and all that. Yes, but we are going to do that within a year or two because the New Companies Act has given us a deadline.
Wow.
Yes. By in 5 years' time, it was passed. The act was passed in 2019. So by 2024, no more walk-in. But we intend to do it even before that. So that will happen. So as a department, we would have to come out and say no more walk-ins, but we must be sure that the system is user-friendly, and wherever you are, you can use it. It is functional right now, but I know for a fact that it's not too user-friendly. That is why most people would still want to use somebody, you know, an agent to register for them. That is not right. In the process, they are ripped off.
I'll come back to what you're doing to ensure that you cut out those middlemen and fraudsters who are affecting confidence. But I know for the big firms, they appreciate all these things. Maybe the challenge could be the sole proprietorship and all the rest. So if I today, George, wants to register, what are some of the requirements especially for the entrepreneurs and the sole proprietorship firms? What are the basic requirements that you need, the 101s to make things that easier and simple for me?
Yes, so you go onto our website. I've mentioned it already. You download the forms. You need a minimum of 3 names. And so, of course, once you go into the system and you put up the 3 names, we'll check out the one that is most appropriate for you. We go against a register to ensure that there is no such name in the register or one similar in sound or in look. And there are some rules governing business names as well. You cannot use the name of, let's say, George.
George Rafi & Co.
You can't.
Okay.
No, you can't use & Co for a business name.
Wow.
Those are some of the rules.
I see.
You can't use & Co for a business name. You can use ventures or enterprise or investments, but you can't use someone's name. If you use, for instance, your dead mother's name for a business name, you'd have to add something like Memorial. Okay. So you come up with 3 names. You need to come up with where you'll be doing business from. Is it going to be your home, or you go and rent a registered place to do business? You need to give us an address, and that is where the digital address comes in. So you need to provide us the digital address of the registered or principal place of business. You need to give us your residential address. You need to give us contact numbers. You need to give us the NIA number or the TIN.
Okay.
Once that is done and you sign the forms, wherever you are in your home, you can register and scan in the documents, and at our back office, we will approve it. When we approve it, wherever you are at home, you can print the electronic certificate. We have digitized our certificates now such that the signature of the Registrar General is on it. You don't need to now come here and get it signed for you.
Okay.
So wherever you are, you can print out that certificate, print out your profile, and you're good to go. And it costs only 60 Ghana cedis. So that's what I'm saying. So that is a very simple type of business. And once
all other things being equal, madam, if I've done all these processes, what is the lag time for me to get my stuff back? Is it a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks or maybe just a day?
No. The system as it is now, you can even get it within 30 minutes, depending upon it being approved by somebody at the back office. And that is where sometimes the delay could come. Because if the back office does not approve it quickly for you, then it could go on to beyond 1 day.
Okay.
But if, I mean, all things being equal, a business name can be approved in a day. And so as a department, we intend to start the VVIP kind of registration where...
That comes at extra cost, right?
Yes, you pay just a little bit more.
Like?
We are now going through that. But
Costing
the important thing is I don't think the customer really cares about the cost. As long as they can get the service within a short and expedited time. I don't think so. Because looking at sometimes the amount of monies they pay these
middlemen.
Yes, to get their documents on time. As a department, we should be able to provide that service upfront, clean, without you ripping you off and getting your documents on time. So this is what you can do it online, or you can walk in and go through the front office procedure of having your forms validated, having a data entry clerk capture it for you, paying it by yourself on the on-site bank. And once you pay and you go away, you get a notice that your documents are ready. And you should get it within 1 to 5 days. That is it.
And if this VVIP services, we're looking at a situation
you
where...
You should get it within a day.
A day?
Yes.
Everything processed for you within a day?
As long as everything is all right. The name is available, you have provided everything. That is... Mind you, now, when I get to companies, it's more, burdensome. You need to provide more information. Business name is very simple.
I know one of your biggest headaches is about these middlemen, these fraudsters who are still coming in and trying to act as officers of the department. How challenging is that for you?
I think it's more our customers who choose not to use the systems that we have in place.
Why?
Okay, so again, I'll come to
your process is delaying because I want it very early, and therefore if that middleman can do it for me, I will go to that man.
Yes, so as a department, we'll have to look at that as well. Because as long as the systems are, quite transparent and easy to use, you should not need a middleman. Some of the complaints I've been receiving is the front office is too choked. And when they get a ticket number, they could sit there for hours without being attended to. But look at this. If you're able to register at home, you wouldn't need to walk in here. So the lesser people who come to the front office, the faster we'll serve them. But each business that is being registered, it could take maybe 10 to 15 minutes to attend to one person. And that could delay the process for somebody who could sit there from morning to evening. And so I think that going forward, it should be more online where you would register wherever you are than going through the traffic to come here and sit at the front office and waste all that time. But I've told you already, the software that we currently have, it's all right, but I will still prefer it to be more user-friendly so that whoever it is who wants to use it would not need an agent to assist them. That there should be more instructions, and I know it's something that we're working on to make it more user-friendly. And then with that, I believe the numbers will reduce at the front office. And then people also get their things on time. Then they wouldn't need to use an agent or a middleman who would rip them off.
I know that one thing about getting registration, and also there are certain requirements that comes after post-registration. And we've gotten to a stage where even some companies may have to lose their status with respect to this and all those things. What is the status of that one and other things being done to ensure that we have the right names on the list? This is PM Express Business Edition. I'll be getting more answers from you on that one. I should take a break and be welcome back, and we'll get back and look at what's the status of these companies who are on the list and what will happen to them if they fail to live by the requirements and being on the books of the Registrar General's Department. This is PM Express Business Edition as we look at the status of the liquidated companies and also registration in Ghana today. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as we talk about registration of business in Ghana today. How simple is the process, or how easy or maybe difficult? Or why is that people still want to go through some middlemen to get their companies registered? After registering, what are some of the requirements or the things that you have to do as an individual or a group to ensure that you are in good standing at the Registrar General's Department? And also, recently, some companies were liquidated. What are their status as we speak right now? And all those persons that place their funds with these financial institutions. Madam Jimema Wari is a Registrar General, and thank you, Madam, for those explanations. And the bit that interested me, or I was very interested, was about the day's registration of business. But also in our quest to digitize the entire system, there's this thing about this Ghana.gov platform. And how is that playing, or what role is that playing in this whole registration of businesses?
Now, I've been mentioning online registration. What that means is that you will be able to pay online now. We're initially having issues with the first online payment platform. But the government of Ghana has, together with private partners, developed the Ghana.gov platform. And the Registrar General's Department is part of the institutions that can access this platform. So electronically, you can use any form of payment to pay for your business registration, but you would have to register with them. So when you register your business online, wherever you are, when it gets to payment, you don't need to come walk into our offices. Wherever you are, you can pay by Momo or by Visa or MasterCard or whatever means of payment you can on the platform. Secondly, you can also renew your businesses now online. Business names only and partnerships. It didn't used to be that like that before. You can use the *222# and it will go through the Ghana.gov platform and you can pay. So you don't need, when it gets to renewal of businesses or business names is on a yearly basis. It's just 25 Ghana cedis for each year.
So if Mr. Mensah is in maybe Paris and he's thinking of relocating to Ghana to start a business, Mr. Mensah can sit in his comfort of his home in Paris, do everything, and even before he sets up to Ghana, he could get all these documents to start the business in Ghana.
The point is, all the documents, all the forms are on our website. Where Mr. Mensah might have an issue possibly is if he doesn't have a tax identification number. And if he doesn't have an NIA number. Even with the TIN, I know that it can be processed online. So if you need tax numbers for your directors or your shareholders, you can do that online. But with an NIA, if you are a Ghanaian living outside and don't have the NIA number, it's going to be a problem.
There are some Ghanaians. Some have been here.
No problem. Then you can use it. So we are looking scenario where by the 1st of January, there must be a means of identifying Ghanaians outside this jurisdiction who do not have NIA card numbers. I've already said that all the forms are on the website. And so if you want to register a company, for instance, wherever you are, you can look for a name, you can search as well online for names that are available. Electronically, you can search. So if you come up with a name, you download the forms, Form 3, you fill it out. Now you will need, under the New Companies Act, every director needs a statutory declaration to be signed by them, confirming that they have not committed any fraud or been convicted of any fraud or caused any company to go into insolvency. It didn't used to be there before.
But I could say that I don't. What systems are in place to check that?
You're swearing to a statutory declaration, and if you are lying, you can go in. If it turns out that you have caused a company to go into liquidation or committed fraud by, convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction, and you lie about that, you can go in. So we need every director to swear to that kind of statutory declaration. You need to have a consent letter. Every secretary now, you need a certain professional or tertiary qualification. In the past, people could just come into the office and use anybody at all. When I'm talking of anybody, possibly somebody who even doesn't know the English language, they just put their name there. It's changed. The company secretary is the one who would help to ensure that the company complies with the Companies Act. So you need a certain professional and tertiary level qualification. You now need the shareholders, of course, that one, you just need your tin. But the auditors now, the law is saying that if you take an auditor for the first 6 years, no problem. After 6 years, you have to change them. They have to have a cooling period of 6 years before the last 6 years you can bring them back. All those things have changed. It didn't used to be like that before. You don't need to bring a constitution now to register. You can either adopt our constitution or you can come with one. The ultra vires rule has been relaxed. You don't need objects. But if you're a company that is regulated by another institution, like a bank, you would need objects. Or a company that has a foreign participation, because of GIPC rules, you need a constitution and objects. We don't give the certificate to commence business anymore. It's only certificate of incorporation. Names of companies have changed. The suffixes ending companies has changed. Please, I need to emphasize this. All companies who were incorporated before October of 2020, if you look at the end of your name and it's still showing limited, Limited. Do you have such a company, George?
I'm just surprised. I know about the listed companies being the PLC.
Yes, but now limited, Limited.
It's not supposed to be there.
It's not supposed to be there.
Why that?
The suffixes are supposed to identify the type of company. So a private company now has to have LTD at the end of its name or limited company. So if you know that you are having a company with a name Limited, please ensure that you come and change it at the department. Not only that.
What about the sole proprietorship?
The sole proprietor, we didn't touch that.
Okay. Why?
We didn't. No, it is the Companies Act I'm discussing now.
Okay.
So we have 6 suffixes. Let me quickly go through it. So you have LTD for private companies limited by shares. You have PLC for public companies limited by shares. You have PUC for public unlimited companies. That's PUC.
Okay.
Then you have PRUC, PRUC for private unlimited companies. Then for companies limited by guarantee, such as churches, LBG. Please, it's not that. LBG.
All right. Okay.
Or limited by guarantee.
Okay.
And then for a public company limited by guarantee, PLBG. So every company, if you were incorporated before October of 2020, you have to take steps to change your name to conform to one of these 6 suffixes I've mentioned. You also need to change your document that governs your operations. We are no more using regulations. We are using a constitution. We have all the 6 types of constitutions on the website. You can download it and pass a resolution and change your name to conform to the Companies Act. And then have a new constitution to conform to the Companies Act.
And understand that just registering is not enough for George Weafe or maybe a cabinet minister to go and sleep. There are certain requirements that comes with there, yearly renewals and all those things. But it appears some things have changed over the period. And so help me understand some of these requirements that ensures that if maybe Duku Ventures registered maybe 5 years ago, you may have to come back and do some renewals and even some things to ensure that Duku Ventures doesn't lose its name in the books.
The system, okay. I'll be discussing 2 levels here. We have the legacy data. Companies registered from 1963 to about 2011. all such companies are supposed to update, as we term it, re-registration.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yes, and there are many, many big companies doing business in Ghana who haven't done that.
Why do I need to re-register?
Because you have to conform to the new software. When we talk of re-registration, you do not lose your incorporation date. You were still incorporated before 2011. That date,
or something.
yes, that date will still be there. But all your directors would have to have unique tax identification numbers. All your directors. And so that is what we term of re-registration. You are just updating
your data.
So
in
at the
system.
touch of a button, I can tell you these are the directors of the company, this is the secretary of the company, these are the shares, because the old data and the legacy data, we can't access it that way. So you need a new certificate, you need a new registration number, you need a new tax identification number. So all businesses bidding for contracts who have not updated their records, unfortunately, what that also means is that they have not filed their annual returns. It goes together with it. We will not update you in the new system unless, and when I talk of filing of annual returns, people think it's like I haven't done business, so why should I file my annual return? An annual return is a booklet. It's like this. It's a booklet that is on our website. It's a booklet, George. It's not just the financial statement. It's a booklet where you update us on the status of the company. Are the directors that you started with still with the company? Are they dead? So if you go to the legacy data, many of the directors are dead. And yet in our system, they are still there as directors. Has the secretary changed? And possibly they've changed it in the registered office, but never bothered to update the registrar general. So all we are saying is update us with this annual return. What is your stated capital? Maybe it's been increased.
Like the commercial banks.
And maybe in the system it's still showing 5 CDs. And yet you are getting contracts over 30 million. So when we say file annual returns, that's what I'm talking about. And then you have to add your financial statements. Many don't even have auditors. Can you believe that? But so that's what we talk about, file annual return, and that is 18 months after incorporation and then yearly thereafter. That is all. But because you haven't done that, you find people coming to the office, they don't even have regulations. They don't even have a register of members. They don't even know who their shareholders are. They are relying on us to give them who their shareholders are in the company. What kind of seriousness is that?
But madam, these companies that have registered were supposed to have been doing
annual. They weren't. That's what I'm saying.
So what was the department doing
so
to
now
take them out
up.
of the system?
We've woken up. We've woken up. Wow. We've woken up. So now we have started. So that is those before 2011. They are really, really dead companies in the legacy data. So when we came into automation 2011 up to this date, we expected companies to have been filing, and they weren't. So you go into the system, look at the filing record, no filings since 2011. Wow. So those are the companies we are delisting now.
When have you
started? We started with 100,000 of such companies. We put their names on our website, giving them enough information for them to come and file their returns and update us. They didn't even mind us. We started the notices. It was going on to 2 years now. We went under the name Same Companies Act because we take it that you are not doing business in Ghana. So we requested them to update us. Nothing happened until we now posted the names in the papers. Because what that means is that you are not doing business, and so the law says we should take you out. We've given them enough notice. Not only that, we've actually set up an office, calling these offices one by one. And you'll be amazed, George, the telephone numbers in our system
don't even work. These were old Ghana Telecom or PT.
They don't even work. So how do you have a director in, you call, and that director's number doesn't even exist?
So as you speak right now, how many firms have you taken out of the system? Or have you started that process of taking them out?
3,100.
And you are working to take the rest out?
By end of October, we will put you into a state of inactivity. What that means is that if anybody comes to search on that company name, you will not find it. If you want to come back into the register, you have to go through the courts. And that's within the next 12 years. After 12 years, it falls into the public domain, and anybody can pick the name.
And what are the consequences for that Joseph Kwamena, who has this company and failed to do so and is still in active business,
so
engaging government?
It's a problem for the one you are signing contracts with, because as far as we are concerned, you are an inactive. Nobody should be doing business with you. So if anybody comes to do due diligence and will not find the name in the system, that's it. You are in serious trouble. So everybody should do due diligence before you go signing contracts with people. Check on the standing of the company. Check and see if it's in good standing or not in good standing. Check and see whether it's inactive or active before you go signing contracts with anybody, because they have not filed they have not updated us. They've not filed any financial statements. So why do you do business with such people? So it's a serious matter. We started with 3001. We put that in the papers. Next month, and we are calling. We keep on calling. And within this period, if you really want to be serious to doing business, please come and update. So the penalty is just 450. Each year to file a return is just 50 Ghana cedis. So if you haven't filed for the last 10 years, that's 500 Ghana cedis. And then 450 for the penalty, that's what, 950. If by any chance there have been any changes along the way, maybe you change directors or you change shareholders, you have to file forms for that. So, you know, over 1,000 cedis should be just enough
to do that,
to put you back in good standing. And then nobody will take your name off. The business names is even worse. The law says if you don't renew, it lapses. Lapses means we just bump you off. And when we bump you off, that's it.
This is PM Express Business. It's getting interesting in terms of what happens to your business if you fail to live by the requirements to have your name registered in the books of the Registrar General's Department. We'll take a short break and be right back. Welcome to PM Express Business Edition, as we talk about maybe business registration in Ghana today, and also what has happened to those financial institutions that were liquidated recently. And going forward, how would the Registrar General's Department be like in terms of registration, business operations, and even going forward in terms of everything being virtual? Thank you so much, Madam. And I was also trying to find out from you that there are supposed to be some companies that are supposed to do some re-registration as well. Tell me more about that one, and what are the deadlines? And since you told me that you are still in the process of taking certain companies out of their books because they failed to meet certain requirements.
Okay. All companies that are in our legacy data.
These are old companies, right?
Registered from 1963 to about 2011. It's close to 1 million.
Wow.
But I'm not talking of companies only.
Yeah.
I'm talking of companies, business names, partnerships, external companies, churches. So it's not just company limited by shares. So over 600,000 are what I'm looking at. Out of this number, we are going to start from the beginning of next year to the end of the year and really go all out to make sure that they are updated into the new system. Updating being they would make sure get the right forms, make sure that they give us the most current information, file their annual returns, file their financial statements, get a new certificate, and then they are in good standing to continue. And after they've done that, they should not stop. They should remember that on a yearly basis, you still need to file your annual returns and update us with your financial statement. Because it looks like when people do the re-registration, they think that is it, then they go to sleep.
But what is the department doing to ensure that going forward, going into next year, maybe Duku Ventures, that you ensure that every year you file your returns, all those requirements that they are supposed to do, they now comply with going forward?
It should be sensitization. That's the only thing,
10 years
George.
after then?
Yes. It should be sensitization and then putting them in line by sanctions and then taking the names off. If you really want to do serious business in Ghana, you wouldn't want your name off the register, so you comply.
I see.
It's only sanctions that you can use, where initially they used to call the bluff of the department, and they used to say that, oh, you're just blowing hot air. Now we've started.
You're taking them off.
Yes, we started. Because initially, so you've talked, when are you going to start? So now we've started. We're really not keen on taking names off the register. That's what I want to emphasize. Nobody is keen on killing a business and taking it off. No, but as long as we're giving a wrong impression that we have about 1 million businesses doing business in Ghana, when it's just possibly about 200,000 or 300,000, you have to make sure that you have a credible, readily accessible database of businesses that are doing serious business in Ghana. You know, we've now introduced the beneficial ownership registration as well. So that also helps to bring transparency. So you actually know who you are doing business with. In the past, that also wasn't there. So these are some of the things that we've now introduced. With the NIA card, it's also fantastic. It will give you a unique identifier across board. So if you put in your NIA number, we'll know it is George that we're doing business with, and nobody else but George.
Another George Kumsin that might have a similar name. And
yes.
Recently, you did some liquidation of companies. As we speak right now, what is the status of the liquidation first, before we even come to the funds being made available to those other companies that are supposed to do the payments?
You know, there are 3 categories of businesses that have had to do with liquidation. The microfinance companies didn't come under the ambit of the Register General's Department. That was under the receivers, and that was PwC. It was the microcredit company, about 39 of them. About 80% have been settled, and about 20% you can't find some of the directors, you can't get financial statements, so that is not too good. That's for the microcredits. But they've been settled, about 80% settled. The Bank of Ghana was able to make funds for us to pay the creditors. Now you come to the fund management companies, that was under Securities Exchange Commission. Initially it was 53 and it was reduced to 47. Of the 47, we have currently gotten orders, liquidation orders for 43. 43. By that, we have held creditor and class meetings for these 43. Once we're able to hold that, all those investors who chose the bailout option went for that. What that is, government provided a bailout option. I'm sure you know of that, yes, where funds were made available to pay investors. So of that group, about 80% who chose the bailout option, I'm talking about 100,000 investors, about 80% have been paid. And we're talking about 3.6 billion Ghana cedis has been disbursed to these people. There were 2 tiers in this kind of financial arrangement. Tier 1 was purely cash, where if your investment is under 70,000, you get everything. If it's above 70,000 and your investment is, say you take 20% of your investment and it's more than 70,000 cash, we give you that higher figure. And then all pensioners got their money. All financial houses got half, 50% of their funds. And every other person fell, and schools and religious-based organizations all got their money. But every other person got the first tier 1 cash and then tier 2 bonds. And I might say that all those who were liquidated initially about a year ago, they are getting the first anniversary of 20% of their funds this month.
That is for the second tier. I mean, those that has part of their funds being invested.
Yes.
This is the time that they are getting a first.
They are now going to access 20% of their investments in bonds in cash.
And that should have been about 30% of the funds, right? Because 70 was paid to them, right?
Yes.
So this November they can start accessing.
They can start accessing, but the notices will come out from GCB Capital on how they can access at least 20. Those who want to liquidate it, it's not compulsory. Because you see, think about it, the whole idea was these were funds that were invested for investment purposes. I mean, if you're going on pension maybe in 3 or 4 years time, you like to have some investment to see you through. So it's not always good to go and disinvest. Because this is a good instrument that government has put together. So let the money remain there and grow. But if you really, really need your money, at least you can disinvest 20% of that. So this is what, so what it means is that we have about 4 companies outstanding that we have not received liquidation of orders for. And one of the big ones there is the Black Shield.
Why are you so struggling with that one?
There are issues, serious issues. Government has even partially paid the investors of
more of a
Black Shield
pre-finance quote,
50,000 cedis.
for each of them.
For some have been paid off completely, but most are still, suffering. They need their investment, but we cannot pay anything until we get a liquidation order, and it is still in court. It's still going through the court process.
So that 50,000 was just an initial thing
just to ameliorate their pain.
Yeah.
But they haven't gotten their investments back. Some investments were under 50,000. In that instance, you've gotten everything, yes. But those who had more than 50,000 have just gotten 50,000 of even the tier 1. The tier 1 is 70,000 cash. You understand me now? So even those investors just got 50,000 of maybe 70,000.
Why have you still not been able to climb that hedge of liquidation?
It's a court procedure. It takes time. There was a bit of mediation coming in. It didn't really happen, and so the process, the courts also went on recess. They've just come back. So we are trusting that we can go through that procedure. Once we get the liquidation order, and that's about 80% of the investors,
Yeah.
Black Shield alone. The Black Shield alone. So even though we've done so well so far, 100,000 investors, about 80% paid. Black Shield alone, total, investors, they had about 80%. So there is still a lot of work to be done.
So when you get the approval, at least then you could then start with the payment.
Quickly paying off, all of them. So I can only do that when I get the liquidation order. We can't do anything without getting a liquidation order.
Let's move to the other category as well that you're trying to explain to me as well.
Which other category?
You talked about 3, that is the...
Yeah, so Black Shield and 2 others, and all are in court. They are all in court. So as long as we do not have an order from the court, we cannot go ahead and hold the creditor meetings and class meetings. That is the justification for us holding those meetings and then passing them over to AM, GCB Capital to handle them with the bailout package.
I mean, I know that yours is to deal with the legal stuff and all the rest, but in terms of feedback, have you been able to check the system to ensure that when somebody says, or another subsidiary or another agency says that they've paid X amount of money to the people, indeed the monies have been paid?
Oh, of course they've been paid. Otherwise, you'd have had maybe some discontent on the streets. At least those who have at least subscribed to the bailout package, as I'm saying, about 80% have been paid. So the issue is the Black Shield customers. They are not happy. They are still very discontent, and some are still dying, unfortunately.
Do you see the chapter on this being closed very soon?
I trust God that it will happen. I pray that the courts will help us to get this order so that we can handle all of them, because I cannot come in until we get that order.
DKM, are you done with them?
Oh, DKM is practically done.
Past tense.
It's practically done. Yeah. DKM is practically
80%, 90%?
Oh, about 90.
Wow.
About 90, and they've gotten all their monies. So what is happening is just mopping up. DKM will close that chapter very soon. Seriously.
Is it your prayer that we don't get to this again?
Yes, definitely. Now with the Insolvency Act out, I'm sure you've heard of the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Act. What is going to happen is most companies will not be liquidated straight away. As they are falling into insolvency, there'll be a restructuring and administration, procedure for them. That the creditors can choose to ensure that they go through that restructuring of the company or put it under an administrator before the final onslaught of liquidation. We should come in at the very end, so that there must be a rescue culture in place for businesses now, which Ghana now has. We didn't used to have that before. And so I think it's good news for companies. And if possibly that act had been in place earlier, I don't think that many companies would have been liquidated. You talked about restructuring and all the rest. With respect to going forward, is the Registrar General's Department also working to restructure itself in terms of the laws, the things you're supposed to be doing, subsidiaries that will focus on specific areas and the things they're supposed to be doing? As a department, by the passage of the Companies Act, there is going to be a split. Wow. A split of the departments. As you said, there needs to be focus on businesses. the administration of businesses. And so the committee of experts thought it wise, as they were reviewing the old Companies Act 1963, to set up a new office to be known as the Office of the Registrar of Companies, under a different leadership or a different head. That person will be the Registrar of Companies. So the Registrar of Companies will be handling companies, partnerships, business names, external companies, professional bodies. There'll also be an insolvency division. There's going to be company inspectors who will be going out to make sure that companies, as you were saying, it's going to be more proactive than you going to,
wait for someone to come to you.
So they'll come to the various offices to check to see if there's compliance with the act, to make sure that the company secretary indeed is qualified to be a company secretary, that the books that the company needs actually being kept. So lots of company inspectors are going to be appointed or recruited. And we're going to have a division that is going to be like compliance. So the sanctions, there are lots of sanctions in the Companies Act. Lots. So this time, when it's hived off, it's going to be under a board. A board of directors. It's not going to be under the Ministry of Justice anymore. But the Registrar General's department will still remain. It will still remain with the Registrar General overseeing industrial property rights, administration of estates and marriages. So this new office will commence from this premises once the board is sworn in. And within a matter of 2 years, we should be moving out of this place to a new office being constructed, where it will be known as the Office of the Registrar of Companies, a new office entirely. But it will start off from this premises.
Are you optimistic that that could also even fast track the process, where maybe in maybe 10 minutes somebody could get the business registered?
Yes, it will be fully automated. As I told you, going forward, the act is very clear that within 2 years, it was given 5 years. Already we spent close to 3 years. So that within the next 2 years, we have to come up with a new software that, as you're saying, within 30 minutes, within 1 hour, wherever you are, very user-friendly, you get your documents, so that you don't get people massing en masse to come to the office, to come and register a business, wherever you are. Because this new act is enforcing the electronic transactions of all types of our operations, so, and it's going to be financially autonomous too. So there is a lot of good things on the way for businesses going forward.
As you wrap up, Madam, for you going forward, what should we be expecting from the department and making things? I mean, there's talk about the ease of doing business and all those things. For you going forward, what should you expect from the department?
You will get the ease of doing business, but I would plead with all our clients out there to really take what we're saying seriously about renewing their businesses, about filing their returns, updating us so that our register is credible. Because as it stands now, it's not credible. It's partly credible because you have dead people in there as directors and shareholders, or directors who have left the shores of Ghana and are not doing anything to do with the business, and yet their names are in there. So that is my plea to them. Those who are in the legacy data, update your records through the re-registration. So electronically, at the touch of a button, we can have access to the data. We are digitizing our records as well. So less paper. You were worried about that.
Yeah, I was.
Yes.
When we're having our discussion of record,
we're going to have less paper. It's going to be a very, what's the word to use? A company, a department, no, it's an office.
Virtual.
Not virtual.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
we'll be there for some of the services. But an office that is digitized and real, when we talk of ease of doing business, linked up to all the other agencies electronically. We are right now, but I think it will go up a step further so that at the touch of a button, wherever you are in the world and in Ghana, you should be able to access our services and get all the necessary documents you need for business purposes.
Even if in Honolulu or Saskatchewan.
No, so you take out all the middlemen and then you do things yourself. And I would advise that people really do things themselves. Because somehow you would find that despite everything that you put in place, they will still have to go through the middleman who will rip you off.
So, I mean, let me first get back to you, madam. So with respect to this whole reformation that is going on, what would be the positioning out there? Because we still know that we knew about a Registrar General's department. Now there's a subsidiary that's trying to be educated. Help me out in the brand positioning of this department.
This department, or Office of the Registrar of Companies, is not going to be a department. It's going to be an autonomous office under a board of directors, and it will be hived off the Registrar General's department, concentrating or focusing on businesses. By that I mean companies, partnerships, business names, external companies, professional bodies. We would also have a unit there for insolvency, known as the Insolvency Division, where this division will be licensing insolvency practitioners. It's a new thing that is coming, so that the official liquidator would also have insolvency practitioners carrying out official liquidations if the creditors want that. We'll also have an inspectorate division where they will ensure that compliance in the Companies Act is enforced. The company inspectors will go out and ensure that the Companies Act is being enforced. So now we will start off from this premises because the new office is now being constructed.
Okay.
And so this is what it's going to look like. But the Office of the Registrar General's department is still going to be there. It will still be in this premises, but it will be under the Registrar General. And then there will be a Registrar of Companies. So two separate heads.
Interesting.
Two separate heads. But
Interesting.
one will be handling industrial property rights, marriages, and estates. And one will be focused only on businesses.
Thanks so much for the education. Well, all too soon we have to draw the curtain down on PM Express Business Edition as you looked at registration of business in Ghana today and the status of these financial institutions that were liquidated recently. Well, I believe that you've all been educated and the education is still going on as you look forward to a more digitized Registrar General's Department in Ghana today. Have a great day. This has been PM Express Business Edition.